As you're able, I invite you to stand and sing number 671 in the blue hymnal, Amazing Grace. You may be seated. Good afternoon. I'm Scott Walters, the rector here at Calvary Church, and it's a joy and an honor to welcome all of you into this sacred space in the second week of the 102nd year of this Lenten preaching series at Calvary. I'll just say right up front, go ahead and silence those cell phones if you don't mind. I checked mine just now, I promise. If you've been to Calvary before, things look a little different around here. We truly hope they're more accessible and open and light-filled and welcoming to everybody who comes in our doors. But as you leave this place, if you're going to go get lunch afterward, if you didn't stop by before, either hallway will take you around to what we're calling the Calvary Commons, which is that light-filled room with the staircase. And that's kind of the heartbeat of this place to get you into lunch. Or underneath those stairs in our new Memphis room, we have pop-up shops from the Episcopal Bookstore at St. Mary's Cathedral. They've got books from some of our speakers this season and also some gifts. And as we do every year, our friends at Thistle and Bee have a pop-up shop as well. If you don't know Thistle and Bee, it's a beautiful, remarkable social enterprise in which women survivors of prostitution and trafficking and addiction form loving, healing community, and do all of this good work together, making beautiful things along the way. So stock up, it's for a good cause, and it's beautiful, delicious stuff to boot. That's under the stairs there in the Memphis room on your way down. I also hope you'll come back tonight at 6:15, or you can catch us on the live stream. Ekundayo is going to be with Jericho Brown, who is a Pulitzer Prize-winning poet, a recent MacArthur Genius Grant. I'm tickled to death to be able to sit off to the side and hear these two remarkable people talk about life in this world together. So that's a dialogue podcast that we record here at Calvary, so it'll be uploaded as well if you can't come back tonight. One more thing about the night that's different. Our waffle shop folks are overworked as it is, so we can't do dinner, but our friend Ermias Shibaru at Stickham is going to have his food truck parked out here. You can grab your dinner and come inside. We'll have the drink station and a place to sit down and enjoy a meal together in that way if you care to. Tomorrow, Jericho will be back to preach. Friday, Peggy Jean Craig of Germantown Presbyterian, Cumberland Presbyterian will be with us. All great stuff. Now, our preacher today, Ekundayo Bandele, is the founder and CEO of Hadilu Theater right here in Memphis, as I think you know. It's a beloved institution that I think will be 20 years old next year. Is that right? He's also a playwright, an actor, a novelist, and about 8 other things I just learned as we sat in my office and talked. We share lots of passions. Hadilu began as a storefront in the Edge District in 2006, and in 2014 moved into its beautiful new digs on South Cooper Street, debt-free, with a $500,000 endowment. That's remarkable. Absolutely. As you know, that's remarkable by any measure, but when you consider that Hadilu is the only freestanding black repertory theater in 5 surrounding states, it's an astonishing feat, even if the odds would not be so long in a society that was more just. But we're grateful for that place and the art that comes into our lives because of it. We're honored to have Ekundayo in our pulpit today. After our centering music, there will be a reading from Ecclesiastes, then he'll come preach. So let's take a moment to quiet our hearts, quiet our minds, turn away from whatever distraction or worry might keep you from hearing what God has for us through Ekundayo in the next moments. A reading from the book of Ecclesiastes. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, time for war and a time for peace. Here ends the lesson.
My brothers and sisters, I stand before you today with a heart full of gratitude. I was first invited to be a part of this treasured Lenten preaching series just before the world was shaken by the great pause of the pandemic. That moment slipped away, but grace has a way of circling back. And so when I was given this second chance, I embraced it with humility and thanksgiving. For that, I extend my deepest appreciation to Calvary's clergy and staff. I also wish to thank my family, my rock and my rhythm, whose love is the steady drumbeat beneath my every word. And I thank the community that I serve, the artists, the storytellers, the dreamers, who remind me daily that culture is not simply created, it is lived, it is breathed, it is shared. As I prepare to share a few reflections with you today, I do so with a prayerful heart. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my Redeemer. My friends, it is a joy to be with you this afternoon, a privilege to stand here in this sacred space. I do not come before you as a theologian or a scholar, but as a fellow traveler on this journey of life. You see, I come from the theater, and in the theater, the stage is not a place of monologue. It is a place of conversation. The actors speak, but the audience responds. Laughter, tears, silence, each a sacred language of the soul. And is that not the very rhythm of creation itself? And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. The divine voice called forth the cosmos, and the universe responded in a symphony of stars and song. And so it is with us. We speak, we listen, and in that sacred exchange, we build something greater than ourselves. So this afternoon, let us enter into conversation, not just with our words, but with our hearts. Let us listen deeply. Let us respond fully, and together, let us create something holy. Because when we truly engage, when we open ourselves to the moment, we step beyond hesitation, beyond fear, beyond the weight of waiting for the perfect time. And that is why my message today is titled, Living Beyond One Day, Embracing Each Moment with Purpose. Let me say that again. Living beyond one day, embracing each moment with purpose. Now, I begin by sharing a simple thought with you, not from the pages of Scripture nor from the writings of great theologians, but from the gentle wisdom of a most unlikely philosopher, Winnie the Pooh. Yes, Winnie the Pooh, that beloved bear of childhood, that sage of the 100-acre wood, that philosopher of the honey pot. In his quiet musings and simple joys, he reveals profound truths in the most unexpected ways. Remember that poignant exchange between Pooh and Piglet? Piglet, burdened by the thought of mortality, confesses his fear to his dear friend. "Pooh," he sighed, "I'm just sitting here thinking about how one day I'm going to die, and that makes me sad. And Pooh, with that characteristically gentle wisdom, replied, yes, Piglet, one day you will die, but on all of the other days you will not. My friends, this is the heart of the matter. We are finite beings bound by the limits of mortality, yet in this very moment, we are alive, vibrant, pulsating with possibility. Each sunrise, each breath is a gift, a precious opportunity to live. But what does it truly mean to live? Is it merely to exist, to simply occupy space, or is it something more? I believe it is to live with intention, to make a difference, to leave the world a little better than we found it. Dr. Albert Schweitzer, that noble physician and philosopher, spoke of the reverence for life. He understood that every living being, from the smallest insect to the grandest of trees, possesses an inherent dignity. To live, then, is to honor that dignity, to cultivate compassion, to extend a helping hand to those in need. Yet the shadows of mortality sometimes lengthen, do they not? This year, as I approach my 54th birthday, a date that echoes the day my father departed this earthly realm, I am acutely aware of my own finitude. The recent passing of friends, the loss of parents, of dear ones, these losses have a way of reminding us of the preciousness of time. The temptation is to dwell on that one day, to allow fear to consume us. But Pooh's words ring true. On all of the other days, you will not. Growing up in the shadow of the crack epidemic, I witnessed the harsh reality of that one day steal away the lives of too many young men, my friends, some barely out of adolescence, their lives cut short, their potential extinguished. I remembered a poignant moment in Atlanta. It was my first attempt at becoming a Morehouse man. I was enjoying a quiet morning with a neighbor, sharing a coffee and conversation out on the porch. A few hours later, tragedy struck. A senseless car accident claimed her life. That day, the fragility of life, the unpredictability of fate hit me with a profound force. As Ecclesiastes 9:11 reminds us, I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent, nor favor to those with knowledge, but time and chance happen to them all. In that moment, the fleeting nature of existence, the unpredictable hand of destiny became acutely clear. But amidst these reminders of our mortality, I find inspiration in the unwavering spirit of the human condition. I think of my daughter, Olaremi, born prematurely. 4 months before her time, the doctors offered little hope. Cerebral palsy, they warned, would likely be a lifelong companion. Yet Olaremi, with her indomitable spirit, has defied all expectation. She has never allowed that condition to define her, to steal her days, to let the shadow of that one day darken her days of living. She lives with a joy, a vibrancy that puts many of us to shame. And then there is my mother, a woman of unwavering strength and faith. Stricken with a severe infection, she slipped into a coma, her life hanging by a thread. The doctors, with a somber tone, informed us that they would have to remove her feeding tube. The prognosis was grim. She will either wake up, they said, or she will pass on. The surgery was performed on a Thursday. That afternoon, as I entered her hospital room, a miracle unfolded. My mother, her eyes open, looked at me. It was a look of recognition, a look of defiance. It was a resounding "not today" to the Grim Reaper. She had other days to live, other stories to tell, other loves to share. I think of the young men I encountered at Morehouse, those brilliant minds, those budding leaders who mostly between the ages of 18 and 21, didn't harp on that one day. They lived with a vibrancy, a zest for life, as if eternity stretched before them. They understood, as our Morehouse brother, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., so eloquently stated, that life's persistent questions, who am I? Why am I here? Are answered best each time we encounter a new person, each time we experience a new situation. They lived, as Frederick Douglass once proclaimed, with a heart full of love and a soul full of song. They understood that life is not merely a passive experience, but an active engagement, a constant striving towards a higher purpose. Almost 20 years ago, I stepped out on faith and founded Hattie Lou Theater. It was a daunting task, a leap into the unknown, but I built it one day at a time, brick by brick, guided by a vision of a vibrant, inclusive theater that would serve as a beacon of hope for our community. I built it with the understanding that my time on this earth is finite, yet with the conviction that Hattie Lou would outlive me, that it will continue to flourish long after I am gone. My friends, we face immense challenges in this world. The specter of climate change, the scourge of war, the persistent injustices that plague our society. These realities can be overwhelming, can tempt us to despair. But we must not allow ourselves to be consumed by fear. As Micah 6:8 reminds us, he has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. We must channel our anxieties into action, into a commitment to building a more just and equitable world. Let us not wait for that one day to arrive. Let us live beyond one day fully, courageously, and joyfully in this very moment. Let us use our talent, our resources, our very lives to build a better future for all. Let us, like the rivers that flow to the sea, continue to move forward, ever onward, towards a brighter tomorrow. As we leave this sacred space, may we carry with us the light of understanding, the warmth of compassion, and the courage to love more deeply. May the words we have shared not just linger in our minds, but take root in our hearts, guiding our steps in the days to come. May we walk in faith, serve with humility, and embrace one another with the boundless grace that has been so freely given to us. And as we go forth, may the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, guard our hearts and minds now and forevermore. May God bless you, keep you, and shine his light upon your faith. Amen and Ashe.
Thank you, Ekundayo. I believe Ekundayo will have a few minutes to greet you at the bottom of the steps following the service, but let us go forth into the world rejoicing in the power of the Spirit. Thanks be to God.